It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. There's a reason rappers can turn any story into a hit track. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 1,000 attorneys and more than 100 offices nationwide. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, your case could be worth millions. But the truth is, a lot of people either don't file at all or get taken advantage of by insurance companies. When you hire Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. If you're injured because of someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. No shortcuts, no lowball offers. In fact, they've secured some major verdicts in the past. For example, in Florida, they got a victim who was in a life-altering car crash, $12 million. 34 times the highest insurance offer. They got another victim in Philadelphia, $26 million. 40 times the highest insurance offer. Not all law firms are created equal. Morgan & Morgan is the biggest for a reason. They will fight for the biggest award possible and have won a lot. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless you win. That's right, no upfront costs. They only get paid if you get paid. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera. Again, if you find yourself injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Don't say I never told you nothing, man. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this afternoon. I want to go ahead and start out the show and just say thank you to everybody that became an insider this year, everybody that tuned in and rocked with us over here this year. Even much love to the people who left, you know what I'm saying, which typically only ends up happening after you get fly in the comments and I give you the same energy that you came to me with and you don't like it. All right. I don't know why people do that. I'm not going to get into that too far, but I don't disrespect nobody. Y'all come over here and play with me. I'm going to go, let's get in the playpen in, you know, but much love to everybody. I've been seeing people putting up their YouTube 25 recaps. Hey man, I came in the top spot for a lot of people. I'm in the top 5 for a lot of people. I genuinely appreciate it, man. And again, if we could keep everything respectful, we won't have any adverse interactions. All right. So much love and respect to y'all, man. I greatly appreciate it. Now, in this video, we're going to be getting into Diddy and the new documentary, Sean Combs' The Reckoning. Yeah, I know we talked about this documentary going on Netflix the other day. It is executive produced by 50 Cent. It's also shot and produced by Miss Alex Stapleton. They've been doing interviews and doing press for this project, and people are wondering, you know, how 50 Cent actually obtained some of these private recordings of Diddy going through, not necessarily the trial, but leading up to his arrest when he turned himself in 2024. And he was recording himself basically trying to get his media plan together, right? He was getting his lawyers, his legal team together. He was getting his PR team together. He was trying to figure out how to compile everything for court. You know, in the documentary, they actually show him making calls to Kalina from Dirty Money. Remember last year, that was a big subject of conversation. Well, shit, top of the year. Excuse me. Earlier this year, it's damn, 2025 felt like it was about 3 years in one, didn't it? But the whole Kalina from Dirty Money thing where she came out and advocated for Diddy and tried to make everything look like it was all peachy keen. Come to find out she's on the documentary and it ain't what it seemed. You know, prior to Diddy reaching out to her for help and to try to get ahead of the curve, she had previously reached out to Diddy for some help in obtaining her own lawyers, you know, in her custody battle, because she doesn't have custody of her kids, if I'm not mistaken. She's trying to get them back. And Diddy said, I ain't got it. I can't help you. She only asked him for $5,000. And he said, I can't do it. And she still looked out for this clown. Okay. In the documentary, they also cover, goddamn, they get into the whole Lil Rod situation. You know, we covered that as well. You know, after Cassie put her lawsuit out on Diddy, he was the next to come out and he detailed a lot of the same kind of contents of the situation. Um, and a lot of people have written off Lil Rod, unfortunately, because he's represented by Tyrone Blackburn, who seems to be a legal scam artist. He's under a lot of scrutiny in the court system right now for basically compiling multiple AI filings in his court documents. He's being sanctioned by multiple courts in multiple cases. Uh, his AI sightings are so bad, he's citing actually fake court cases in his goddamn filings. So he's got himself up the creek. And again, Lil Rod ended up suffering for it. I guess that's why he's come out and decided to be in this documentary, because, Diddy and Stevie J, who was also present for the Love album, that's where Lil Rod came in, was to produce on the Love album. They tried to play him out like he was just a piano guy. Like he just came in and added piano to a couple of tracks. Well, Lil Rod came in and gave 50 Cent 13 months of fucking footage. Okay? And they go through the whole saga of him coming in as a relatively nobody. I won't say nobody in general because he had produced on a couple big projects prior to Diddy. But he wasn't well known. Still isn't all that well known as far as like the general consensus, right? The general public. But he gave 50 in them 13 months of footage of him being in the studio restlessly, uh, fucking playing piano. He's a multi-instrumentalist, producing, lending ideas. When they were trying to mix the project and different stuff, they showed footage of him actually contributing in multiple ways. He goes into some of the things that happened in that situation, and ultimately he was never paid for any of his work. Still hasn't been paid for any of his work. Diddy allegedly promised him $250,000 for his work and a house in Miami, that which would have been next to Diddy's. That was never delivered upon. At one point, Bad Boy did offer him $27,000 instead of the $250,000 that he was allegedly promised, and he still has never actually obtained that money. So he literally worked on that album for free, on top of being solicited for sex multiple times by Diddy and others allegedly involved with Bad Boy. He also had footage of the shooting that took place out in Los Angeles. He talked about it in his lawsuit of a shooting of a guy, one of Justin's friends. Apparently, Diddy and Justin went in the bathroom with this guy, G, and a shooting ensued. 2 shots, boom, boom, went off. Lil Rod was in the studio playing music. He like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Ambulance come, police come. Diddy instructs everybody to tell the police and the ambulance the shooting did not happen here. Diddy's homie, who ex-officer came through, basically did his secret handshake with law enforcement. Them niggas got the fuck up out of there. Lil Rod has footage of himself walking into the bathroom where the blood and everything is, which was photos of that have been used in his lawsuit. So we actually have a little bit of footage that led to those photos. They got into his upbringing, the house parties and everything, which we've learned about. There's multiple Diddy documentaries out there. But also you get into Kirk Burrows, who was a co-founder of Bad Boy. He was 25% owner of Bad Boy. Janice Combs was the 75% shareholder of Bad Boy, because Diddy actually never put his name on the company, had it in his mother's name. That's what Mace has been saying for years, just like all of the artists on Bad Boy's publishing is also in Diddy's mother's name, although she never wrote, produced, or sung on anybody's records. So they get into all of the deep dirt, and Kirk Burrows was essentially a right-hand man. And the reason why I'm talking about Kirk Burrows specifically is because he was essentially robbed out of his 25% stake. He's been speaking about this for nearly 2 decades. He first filed a lawsuit against Diddy for this in 2003. It got stumbled out of court based on, I think it was statute of limitations at the time. And he refiled a new lawsuit last year under the Gender Motivated Violence Act, which allowed people to bring up older situations if they were sexually violated, which he claims that he was. I can't say anything to that, but the sexual violations in tandem with the alleged stealing of his 25% stake, he says Diddy came into his office with a bat and said, look, bro, I got this business deal I'm trying to secure. I need some money up front. I need to cash out on your 25%. I promise I will give it back to you after this happens. He said he threatened him in so many different ways until he finally obliged. Of course, he never got it back, right? But then we get into the Tupac and Biggie. And there's a lot more in this, but I'm just kind of covering like the top of mind stuff. So then we get into Diddy's alleged involvement with the deaths of both Tupac and Biggie. Now, I'm sure a lot of people for many years have already felt like that's what it was. I know a lot of people felt like Suge was involved with the death of Tupac. And hey, I'm not the guy to tell you yes or no on that, you know? But it seems that Diddy may be far more involved than what we initially thought. Now, of course, as it pertains to Tupac, we do know Keefe D is in police custody. He does have a trial. He is going to have to stand in front of the judge and jury for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Okay? And in the documentary, they even get into the communications between Keefe D, his OG Diddy. They was all tight, from the Crips out in California, Southside Crips, I think it was. And I ain't please just relaying the information. And basically, we know Tupac was killed in Las Vegas after the Tyson fight. And apparently there was a wire of $500,000 that was sent to his OG that never made it to Keefe D. Okay? So Keefe D is now standing trial for this. And that wire was allegedly from Diddy. Now, as it pertains to Biggie, who died the following year, they're now digging into Diddy's alleged involvement with that, right? For years, we've had Gene Deal, Kirk Burroughs, and other associates from Bad Boy that have come out and said Biggie never really wanted to be in Cali. Even though he made the Going Back to Cali song, he didn't actually want to go out there. The time that he did spend out there, he was eager to leave. He was supposed to go to London, fly out to London to do a UK press tour. And Diddy said, nope, we're canceling it. Cancel the flight, cancel everything. We staying out here a couple more days. I'm throwing a party. He threw the party, and subsequently, Biggie was shot afterwards. Okay? That's how it happened. So Kirk Burroughs is painting the scene like, yo, we worked on, putting together this UK thing for months and weeks leading up to this, and he abruptly canceled it and was like, no. And basically, if you listen to Gene Deal, he was antagonizing Biggie for not wanting to stay in California, basically saying, you big and scared? The hell? You scared of the West Coast? You scared of Cali, nigga? They got you shook out here? We run this shit. Let's have a good time, baby. And was getting in his head. And you know how that shit go with young men, unfortunately. So Biggie stayed. And unfortunately, he didn't make it neither. Right? Now, getting to Biggie's death, Kirk Burroughs actually talks about how once Biggie was dead, they started trying to plan Biggie's funeral. And with Biggie's funeral, Diddy wanted to throw the biggest funeral New York City had ever seen. So they're planning this out, getting the arrangements together. And Biggie's funeral was literally, like a fucking parade through the city. So as they started to inquire about the cost and stuff like that, Diddy actually began to change his tune and was like, whoa, we still gonna throw the biggest funeral New York City's ever seen, but it ain't coming out of my pocket. Okay? So Kirk Burroughs says Diddy came to him and said, yo, Biggie gonna pay for this. So then he goes and tells Kirk Burroughs to literally go in Notorious B.I.G.'s contract, go to the middle of the contract. I guess there was some sort of indemnification clause and some type of clauses that he wanted Kirk Burroughs to literally change the verbiage in, take out of the contract, and put new papers in the contract to document these changes. Kirk Burroughs says he refused. And within, I believe, 30 days or so, he was fired. Right? So he said that Biggie, he went in his contract and was like, and found a way to extract that money from Biggie. I don't know if it was going to come from his royalties, most likely, because Biggie was very successful when he died. You know what I'm saying? Ready to Die was a big album. Life After Death was immediately a hit. He had hit records that popped before he died. That was the massive success. Multi-platinum album. And instead of, finding an alternative means to pay for that funeral, he took it out of Biggie's deal. Fucking slime ball, bro. Allegedly, we have to say. I can't say nothing definitively. I was not there, but that is what they're saying in this documentary. Now, again, there's so much other shit going on. There's 4 episodes. Each episode is an hour long. They go into Diddy first meeting Misa Hilton. She was originally, I guess, dating Eric Sermon. For those that don't know Eric Sermon, EPMD, producer, rapper extraordinaire. You know what I'm saying? Hit Squad, Def Squad, brought fucking Redman, Keith Murray, Molly G, all them niggas into the game. Def Squad. But apparently he was messing with Misa first. And in the documentary and over the course of the last couple years, we've now figured out that Diddy had a thing for taking niggas' girls. Okay? They got into the situation with Al B. Sure when Kim Porter was dating Al B. Sure, and he blew up and he was moving around the country and doing shows and stuff, and Kim Porter was working at Uptown. He started flirting and doing anything to get her time and attention. He was directly working with Al B. Sure, but flirting with his girl back at the office while he was out moving around. Eventually he got her, right? Eric Sermon had connection with Misa Hilton. Eventually he got her, and he stepped in and he kind of made it clear that he didn't want her communicating with Eric Sermon, even though they were still friends. Eric Sermon in the documentary even details, there was an occasion where he and Misa were sitting in his car. Diddy pops up and is like knocking on the window. What the fuck is going on? Boom, 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 boom. And allegedly tried to swing on Eric Sermon. You know what I'm saying? E-Double said, are you fucking crazy, nigga? Come with me around the corner. So allegedly, he said he gets Diddy in the car. They about to drive around the corner to an alleyway. And when they in the car, Diddy immediately calms down and says, hey, Playboy, I want to play you something. Excuse me? You just tried to swing on me, you crazy fuck nigga? Hey, Playboy, I want to play you something. And plays him Biggie's album, Ready to Die. Crazy shit, man. They get into his violent tendencies with Misa Hilton. Multiple people in the documentary say that he used to beat her up in the middle of the street, slamming her in the cars, all type of stuff. They get into the violence between himself and Kim Porter. Roger Bonds, the security guy who came out after the Cassie lawsuit was released, he came out and was alluding to all this shit. I guess he needed money or something, so he never really came out and said what he needed to say till damn near a year later. But now he's on the documentary talking about how he never personally witnessed any of the violence. but he could hear it when it would happen in the other room. Getting back to Tupac and Biggie, they go into how Diddy was jealous of Tupac when he first started coming around Biggie, because remember, Tupac and Biggie were both very tight in the early 90s when Pac was, on his like second album. Biggie was on his first. They talked about how Diddy was actually obsessed with Tupac's "I Get Around," and how, and this is Kirk Burrows, who built Bad Boy with Diddy. He says that the style, and not really the style, but like the formula that went into "I Get Around" really helped Diddy communicate to Biggie, like, this is what we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do your, this is where the philosophy of, you could do your hard shit, but you still need joints for the ladies. Like, look at Tupac, "I Get Around." And that was like his favorite song at that time. And he had like a weird obsession with Pac, but he didn't like him when he was around. Um, and he didn't like that him and Biggie were close, so he kind of tried to wedge separation between the two of them, allegedly. And these are what folks that were actually around say. And of course, we know Tupac ended up getting shot at Quad Studios when he was going there to see Biggie. In the documentary, you literally have Lil C's where he comes out and says, "Yo, we in the studio, we up top. I'm looking out the window, I see Pac. I say, 'Yo, Pac.' Pac says, 'Yo, what's good, little nigga? I'm on my way up.' And as soon as Lil C's gets in the elevator to go down, he gets to the bottom floor, and somebody's standing outside the elevator like, 'Nah, nigga, stand back. Two guns.' He got to stand back on the elevator. Pop gets popped. All this shit pops off, right? You can believe Lil C's if you want. I know some people won't. But that's the story. Allegedly, Biggie knew nothing about it. They knew nothing about it. Um, but of course, Pac was like, ain't no fucking way. Somebody had to know. And he definitely blamed Diddy, who was Puff at the time. So much stuff covered in this motherfucker, man. Um, I'm just freestyling too. I ain't got no notes. Then after making Biggie pay for his own funeral out his recording contract, um, they got into more current day or years later, after Diddy blows up, and of course, Biggie dies. He puts the No Way Out album out. He puts that dedication song out. He becomes a superstar media mogul. He basically took the opportunities that were laid out for Biggie for himself. Biggie was supposed to be on a Rolling Stone cover. He usurped that and said, "Nah, that gotta be me. I got a new album coming out. Fuck that. I need to be on that cover." Then, of course, we get that late 90s push into the early 2000s. The Jiggy era goes crazy. He's the nigga. Superstar, mogul, producer that don't touch no motherfucking equipment, right? Don't ask me if I write rhymes. I write checks, ass nigga. You know what I mean? And then we find out he really wasn't writing no motherfucking checks to nobody but his goddamn self. So all that happens. And then Diddy starts throwing freak offs every year annually on March 9th, the date of Biggie's death. They say this nigga been throwing freak offs specifically on that day to celebrate. Now, what type of nigga is that? Allegedly. Oh boy. This thing crazy, man. Now again, a lot of this information is out there, and I know a lot of people probably won't watch it because it is Diddy and he's a disgusting motherfucker, and you probably don't want to extend your time of looking at that disgusting motherfucker. And I can't say I blame you, you know what I mean? But there's definitely a lot of insight in that motherfucker, man. And especially when you get to see his private, up-to-date 2024 footage that he was preparing because he really thought he was going to walk or something. They caught some really interesting footage of that nigga, like really trying to maestro the situation. Also in there's a couple parts that I found strange where he said that God allegedly told him to do nothing after the indictment and everything hit, he said God told him to do nothing, but then he started putting pressure on Justin. Like, well, since I can't do nothing, God ain't say nothing about you putting your mind to use on what you can do. And I'm like, what the fuck Justin got to do with you and your shit? Now, I know he probably done been around for some of your bullshit, because clearly he was allegedly present for a shooting that took place, and we don't know who pulled the motherfucking trigger. But I just thought that was strange, that you're a 50 plus, damn near 60-year-old man going down for things of your own volition, and then you start putting pressure on your son to figure out how to keep you free. Your alleged son at that. But I won't get into that. This shit crazy, man. So if you happen to have 4 hours of free time this weekend, I'd say just check it out just for the information. You know what I mean? But if not, it's all good. They got into that celebrity basketball game he threw back in, like, what was it, 91 at CCNY, where it was like a riot and motherfuckers literally died. It was a stampede and niggas got trampled. It was damn near, it was basically Travis Scott 91. You know what I'm saying? Cause he blamed it on people bum rushing the door. But the story allegedly goes that they had reached capacity. They told him not to let nobody else in. And they say that he actually let more motherfuckers in because he wanted to make this the biggest event ever. You can deduce which side of the story you believe, but that shit was a fucking travesty. You know what I'm saying? They got into all of this stuff, man. Then they got into, once the original Bad Boy cast was like over and done with, Biggie was dead, Faith Evans gone, Mark Curry, who also played a role in the film, he's gone. He was ghostwriting for Diddy behind the scenes. 112 gone. The whole squad, right? And Craig Mack, his whole Flavor in Your Ear, he's platinum, he's going on tour, all this shit. They talk about how he was dead ass fucking broke. His wife was taking out loans from her father to take care of the household, while Craig Mack got songs on the charts and on TV every motherfucking day because he wasn't being paid. After all that, then of course we get the making the band shit, you know what I mean? Because basically it's like everybody that knew him, at least artist wise, got away from him. So he needed new artists. And so he attacked the young and impressionable new era of artists, of people who didn't know nothing about him. All they knew was the nigga from TV. So he then attacked their naivete and created these groups off of television, and how they got fucked over. Babs from the band, she talked about how she was offered a contract on TV, and she literally had 24 hours to come back and submit the contract signed. You know what I'm saying? Now you tell me how many people you know, rappers off the street in their 20s, that can be presented with a recording contract and have a lawyer on hand that can go and overview the contract within 24 hours. Luckily for her, she did. Her lawyer said, hey, I don't know if you're in it for the fame and fortune, but this contract, it'll bring you fame, no fortune. He gave her the heads up. She signed it anyway. There's also that part of it. Didn't even understand what the fuck was going on. You get into the whole Danity Kane era. Aubrey O'Day is on there. There's a gut-wrenching story on there about her. You can deduce on what you think is real or not, but apparently there's a portion in the documentary where she details this woman who claims that she saw Aubrey O'Day being SA'd by Diddy and a security guard in the studio. And she has no recollection of whether or not it happened. Okay? Now, if you can recall, they go through it where Diddy was like the hardest on her. He always would try to say that she's, trying to outshine the group. She's, you trying to do all these changes with your hair and all this stuff with your look. I don't like that shit. You need to come get that shit approved by me first. You trying to be this old sexy, da-da-da-da-da. Then behind the scenes, he's basically soliciting her for sex. You know? You got motherfucking Kalina on there from Dirty Money. She completely sells out, what's her name? Dawn Richard in the documentary. She says, oh, there was always something weird that she had going on, basically implying that Dawn wanted to be Diddy's chick, although he was with Cassie. It's not what Dawn had to say, but, you know, a lot of people have discredited Dawn because she kind of, you know, got flustered in court. I don't know. Now, I will say, I'm more than ready to leave Diddy in 2025. I don't want to hear shit else about this nigga in 2026. I don't want to see this nigga face. Like, I don't want to hear no documentary. I don't want to hear no unreleased music. I don't want nothing to do with this nigga in 2026. So, my advice to the world is fucking speak now or forever hold your peace on this nigga, man. You know? Fuck. But again, check it out. Let me know what y'all think of it down below in the comments whenever you get a chance. And again, let me know what y'all think of Diddy literally going into Biggie's recording contract and figuring out a way to make Biggie pay for his own funeral out of his own record deal. That's some crazy shit there. Miss Valletta ain't never really cared for him. She always said, what type of grown man call himself Puffy? I think she was asking some valid questions. I will catch y'all on the next one, man. Be sure to like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time seeing me on YouTube. I'll see y'all in a minute, man. Peace. Yeah, family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy cause consulting for the stacks I built.